Welcome to the Business of Hearing podcast, the number one marketing and practice growth podcast for high-performing private practice hearing care leaders. It's Friday, and this is my end-of-week roundup of what's top of mind after 7 days of helping some of the world's best private practices to attract high-quality patients, fight the evil forces of manufacturer-owned chains, and be impossible to compete with. My name's Ollie Luke. Pull up a chair, pour yourself a drink, and let's have a chat. So welcome along to another episode of the Business of Hearing podcast. And today I want to share 3 ideas that I've never seen anybody implement in our industry that just still, I remind myself of these all the time. I still feel these are amazing ideas, but I've not seen anybody implement them. I want to share them with you, and maybe you'll be the one that goes away and implements them. Or you can just tell me that these are terrible ideas and there's a reason that nobody's implemented them. But I think these are super interesting. Will drive more of the right outcomes, will allow you to collect more revenue. They're a little unique, a little not been done before because it takes a little bit of work or it goes against the norm. But usually the best ideas come from being outside the box, right? And things that have worked in other industries. So I don't expect this to be a long episode, but I expect it to be one of uniqueness, things you've not heard before. And with that said, let me jump into the first one. And it's around physician marketing. Because fundamentally, if you look now over 2024 at all the physicians that referred to you, what you typically see is a list where you get a huge amount that maybe referred 1 or 2, and then you get this kind of top 20% that was responsible for 80% of the referrals. You get this nice group of physicians that referred multiple times to you. Now, what is the objective? What do you want to achieve from them? Because you don't really need to market to them in the traditional way of trying to get them to know you, like you, or trust you. They already do. The objective of them is how do we protect that relationship? How do we have them continually refer and hopefully refer many more? And how do we become their trusted partner for years and decades ahead rather than just, as the sun shines today, they're feeling this way, and if it rains tomorrow, they'll feel another way. How do we hold that certainty? And here's something that I think would be really, really cool to do, requires work, but would have such a big, big impact. I would say Dr. Smith referred 10 patients over the past 2 months. Let's use that as the example. How cool would it be if you could get the 10 patients that he referred that went on to have treatment, that you helped to achieve better hearing, and if you had each of those 10 patients write a case study sharing how they found you, how they now have achieved better hearing, and how thankful they are to Dr. Smith for making that introduction. Imagine getting 10 of them, these individual stories with a picture of the patient with a headline, which is like, I'm so thankful to Dr. Smith for making the introduction. I went to ABC Hearing and I was concerned about this. I mentioned to Dr. Smith that hearing wasn't what it was and he told me I should go here and I'm so thankful that he did. The team here have been amazing. I can't believe I've been able to reconnect and do this, this and this. Big thanks to Dr. Smith for making that referral. He's been awesome. She's been awesome, etc. Like, imagine that. Imagine then packaging that up, designing it into something nice and sending it to Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith opens it, sees his or her patients and reads these case studies of these 10 patients who are showing thanks to him or her as a token of appreciation for making the referral to you as the practice. Like, imagine the weight that would hold. Imagine he or she, they'd take that, they'd show others. It would give them all the reassurance that once that referral's been made, they're going to safe hands, and it'd just be like the biggest dose of appreciation towards them that would make a huge, meaningful difference. Never seen a practice implement this because it means tracking the patient, it means having a process to pull the case study out of the patient. It means then designing it and packaging it into something it then needs mailing. It's a little bit of work, but I think it's work that makes a big difference, because if you've got physicians that are referring 10 patients to you a month, hypothetically, then it's easier to get them from 10 to 15 than it is to get somebody from 1 to 5, in my view. They already know you, they already like you, they already trust you. It's more encouragement of how can we grow referrals with them, grow relationship, and ensure we're looking at building something for decades to come, not months to come, years to come, etc. So that's the first big idea that I think is unique. Never seen anybody do it, still believe it's an awesome idea. Here's the second. And this is all about model, because the hearing care model traditionally has been, you give me X amount of dollars today up front, and then I'll deliver devices to you and then service for a period of time. And then hopefully one day you'll give me another bit of money, and then we'll repeat the process, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I think there's another unique way that practices can collect a lot more money from patients over a 10, 15, 20 year period by changing up that model. And I'll explain it to you now, because this isn't something you could do for all of your patients, but for a group. And that group would be the younger patients who are more technology focused, that always want the best of the best. Because my belief is, and let's play this model out, if patient came to you and you did traditional route, which is they spent $7,000 today and they got premium technology and a 4-year service plan, whatever that looked like, and they walked out the door. If you could then write to them after 2 years and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Patient, I don't know if this is for you, but we have some patients that just always want the best technology. They always want to be wearing the best. They always want to update as regularly as possible. And as a result, we've developed something called the concierge club, whatever you want to call it. And here's how it works. You can come in for an appointment, and we're going to upgrade you into the brand new technology that's recently been released, so that you're wearing the best of the best of the best. All you have to do for that is pay us $190 a month. You pay us $190 a month, and every 2 years, 3 years, we'll naturally upgrade you into brand new technology. So you never have to pay a lump sum out of pocket. You just pay us $190 a month. You'll get access to all our all-inclusive service plan. You'll get upgraded technology every 2 to 3 years. We'll give you some other preferential benefits, like, I don't know, you partner with a bunch of local businesses and say, we've got 100 patients. Can we get some special pricing or a bottle of wine with a meal at this restaurant? And you give them all these little community perks, whatever that may be. But just play this model out. So a patient pays you $7,000 for 4 years service and devices on day one. At 24 months, you upgrade them into new technology, which means that you've got to swallow that. Like, you've got to spend $2,500, whatever it is, on cost of goods, whatever that may be. Let's just play this out. But as a result of doing that, you then haven't got to deliver on that extra 2 years service that's been promised. You've delivered 2 years, and that extra 2 years can kind of go by the wayside. So you've got to swallow a little bit of money in order to get them to step into this new technology and get them on this plan. But you then get paid $190 a month. And that goes on a monthly basis. Then at the 36-month mark, you once again swallow $2,500 to get them in the new technology, and 190 continues. If you play this out and you model this out over the course of 5-10 years, you collect so much more money from that patient. Like, it's not even comparable to what you'd get with traditional model. You'd collect so much. Like, this is over $2,200 a year that you would get paid for that patient just to deliver service. And once that's paid back off your cost of goods, then it's profit. Like, it puts you in such a nice position where you still protect the cash flow on day one of getting your lump sum. But then once that, you can roll them into this monthly plan, which means that you're getting paid with monthly income, which means that it's nice when you've got 100 patients doing this on a monthly perspective, which means that your bills are being paid for on the first day of the month. But as a result, you collect a lot more money for those patients, deliver them a service where they just pay a monthly subscription in the same way they do for their car, their cell phone, and everything else, and they get upgraded technology every 3 years, and your all-inclusive service plan. Like, it sounds unique because I've not seen any practices run it, but run the numbers. The numbers stack up. And you could even adjust those numbers ever so slightly and make it slightly more. But the numbers stack up very beautifully. But I do believe a key thing is get them to spend the upfront money. So you're not having that cash flow hit. And then only at the year 2 mark, where really you would have waited another 2 years before even giving them an opportunity to upgrade, get them in and get them into that regular cycle. And you'll be in a nice position there where you get the loyalty of that patient because they're on a plan, and you collect a lot more money. Here's the third idea that, once again, I've not seen any practices implement, but I love a lot. And it's something that sits between the gap when they schedule an appointment and the gap when they turn up for an appointment. So let me give you some context on this. I had a marketing consultancy company here in the UK many, many years ago. And basically the way that we got clients was we shared some education, made them want to work with us, and then we invited them to a sales call, a strategy session, a discovery session, whatever you want to call it, with the guide of understanding them and then, if it's a good fit, introducing how we can help. One thing that we discovered that if we inserted something in the middle between them scheduling that strategy session and turning up for the strategy session, we could have greater success on that strategy session. And what that thing was, we called it a client conversion kit, which is a bit of a cliche thing, but it's, can we have something that lands, that educates, that pre-sells, that pre-frames, and basically gets them prepared for when they turn up for that appointment. And in our instance, it was FAQs, and FAQs really is objection crushers. The question is the objection, the answer overcomes it. The question is the objection, the answer overcomes it. Can we have case studies of people like them that have achieved the outcomes that they're looking for as a result of working with us? Can we have our velvet rope policy to say, here's the type of people that we work with and they've got to honor these values, and here's a clear set of expectations on they can't expect to be able to email me and get a response. Like it sets the boundaries of what's going to be realistic. And it worked dramatically well at increasing the success rate of those strategy sessions. Now, if we zoom out and put that into hearing care, here's what I think many hearing care clinics could do to have amplified success with their providers' help rate and performance, is have a seminar or some form of online training that sits between scheduling and the appointment date. Because you know this as you've scaled your practice. Like, you as a provider, historically, were probably the best provider at helping patients to say yes and move towards treatment. As you've scaled and brought more people in, you realize that not everybody has the skills that you have in order to be as charismatic and help patients make decisions. Now, how can we use marketing to make the sales easy? Well, between that gap where they schedule and when they turn up for that initial consultation, could you deliver a seminar, an online video, something that the patient is encouraged to watch and told that they need to watch it to ensure they're prepared for that appointment, where you really give the lay of the land of, help them understand the landscape of hearing care, help them understand there's a big difference between hearing aids and hearing care, and they understand the market. Basically get them in a position where they understand that you have the unique solutions to their challenges, you're the logical option for them, and exactly what's going to happen at that appointment. So they turn up, there's no surprises, they're pre-sold, they're pre-famed, they're ready, your team spend time with them. It's a nice, smooth step towards them saying yes and moving forward with treatment. Never seen a practice implement any of these three things, but always thought these are good ideas, and these are things that have just circulated in my mind for longer than I'd like to admit, but never really been implemented. And I thought I'd share these with you because neither of these are easy to implement. They're not quick fixes. They're not something you can do in the next 5 minutes. But I believe each of them, if implemented correctly to a gold standard, would make dramatic impacts to different things, whether that is the physician relationships that you have in place right now, whether that is the money that you collect from patients and the average lifetime value of patients, or whether that is the success rate of that your providers have when patients turn up and how many of them go on to say yes rather than maybe or no. So 3 unique ideas. Hopefully there's one in there that you find interesting, unique, or applicable. And my encouragement, as always, is one did stand out. Please go and do it. Action is what's going to make the difference of you listening to this and getting benefit from it, or you listening to this and just burning time. Like, my goal here is to give you as much as I can so that you can get more of the outcomes that you're looking for, because there's many more exciting podcasts than this, let me assure you, on the internet. And if you're here for the entertainment, God, your life may be as boring as mine. Please put into action some of this stuff that you're learning, and I'll be back again next week with another episode. And there we have it. Another episode has come to an end, and I have a quick favour to ask. If you have found this helpful, then who do you know who should listen to this podcast? I strongly believe a rising tide lifts all boats, and right now, private practice needs to stick together to fight these big, gormless groups and these manufacturer-owned Goliaths that are looking to take market share from us. Consider who should be listening, pass on the word about the Business of Hearing podcast, and I'll see you again next week.